All right. Hendo is globetrotting around. Where is he? Vietnam, I think, at the moment. So we've got a fill-in guest. You have to guess who it is. Well, actually, I'll probably put in the title. So this is not going to be a very fun game. But we do have a last-minute guest host, I should say, and he's coming in hot right now. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh, you've like flashed up very briefly, and then there he is.
Hey, hey, mate.
Hey, mate, how are you?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Very good.
Hey, I don't know what happened there. That was weird. It came up and it finished. Like I said, the Zoom recording's finished. All done. The host closed it off.
Do you want me to tell you what happened? We'll like do the break the fourth wall, like the Kardashians. That's what we're doing right now. So I fired up the Zoom, and then because I do this in my bedroom now because I don't have an office in this house, and it's a shit show behind me, and I don't want anyone to see it because it's horrific. And it was all there, but it's not normally there because we're borrowing Hendo's account tonight.
Yep.
So I thought I'm going to quit and then set the blur thing and then come in hot with a blurred background.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, so no one will ever know that I'm doing this from the bedroom.
Don't worry about it because I do the same thing. I don't have an office here, and mine's in my bedroom as well, and I've got my desk pivoted around to a corner.
What is going on there? There's some interesting stuff happening.
Oh, behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a picture that one of my kids did for me. That's cool. A frame of Cerberus, the beer that was my first commercial beer. So that's just a whole bunch of paraphernalia from that, and then got some crafted glasses that shout out to Crafted Glass Boys because I need to do a promo video for them, and then this is a heat press because I do sublimation and vinyl. I've got a vinyl plotter, and
I don't even know what that means. What does that mean?
So like make t-shirts and shit.
Yeah.
So I can make t-shirts. So I got a plotter that'll go through and it'll cut out the logo, and then I peel it off, and then I heat press it down onto the shirt, and yeah,
that's cool.
That's how it goes.
There you go. You got it all happening.
Hey, how about you, mate? How you been?
Yeah, good. Yeah. I did actually. We were kind of almost going to be able to get Hendo on this, but we realized so he's in Vietnam at the moment, but it was going to be 9 o'clock at night my time, and I'm like, that's just simply too late.
Yeah.
But we had a good time. We went to. Have you got a beer?
Sorry?
Have you got a beer?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've got this out of the Gabs pack, the wax on, wax off.
Oh, nice. Hang on, let me get a screenshot. Screenshot for the
I've got it. I poured it into a glass because I'm not a heathen. Nice.
Banger. So who's Deep Creek?
Deep Creek and Maku. I don't know. It's one of the it was from Gabs. But it's a hemp hazy IPA, so it's really nice.
There you go.
I had a couple of the Gabs packs, and I found this in the back of the fridge tonight, so it's probably not as fresh as it should be, but it's still tasting pretty good. I
was going to say hemp hazy IPA that's in the back of the fridge. Get your shit together, son.
if you saw my beer fridge, there's so much beer in there.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I'm running very low on sponsored beer, but
I'll have to send you some then. I'll probably know some people.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, no, but we're good. We're coming up with a good weekend at Pino palooza. So
how did that go?
It was pretty fun. It was so we walked in there. We went for a beer first at the Bavarian next door. So they had Oktoberfest on. So me and Hendo walk in as like two beer guys going to a wine event. We go past the beer event to go into the wine event, which is kind of funny in itself. But yeah, it's very different to a beer event. Like you walk in, the first thing they do is give you a glass.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, okay, so you can have glasses here. So that was actually nice to be able to drink out of the glass. And one you got to keep as well. And I didn't see or hear a single one smash for the entire thing.
Yep.
Which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And we kind of just had like little tasters. It was sort of unlike, I remember I went to the Stone and Wood Backyard Invitational, and Hendo said the juicy one was the same, where you were getting small tasters, but they were kind of almost big enough to be like, you'd have it and then you'd leave and you'd kind of, start a conversation and go back. Whereas this wine one was like literally just a taste.
Yeah.
So it was like you go up to, which is fair because wine's expensive, and some of this wine was like, it's expensive wine, but it was like they'll give you a drop of like 4 of their different wines, and then after that happens, like going to the winery, you either buy a glass or buy a bottle to take away, or move on to the next one. But like we just wanted to kind of have a glass of wine. We didn't really want to taste like a million, so we ended up kind of tasting a few and then buying a bottle and sharing it, and like buying a couple of glasses and getting a cheese platter. It was very fucking civilized. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah. It was a nice day too. Like it was pretty nice weather that day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was indoor. It was right next to, there's like it's right near the Echo, but it was like in a sort of a pavilion of sorts.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, it was good. We randomly went to a stand that was selling gin because we're like, why not, just for fun? And it was like Sheep's Whey gin. And Hendo starts asking this guy questions about it. He's like, I have no idea. Talk to this lady. This lady comes over and starts explaining to Hendo like which fermentable sugars were fermentable at certain times because of the way the cheese was cultured, all this shit that I had absolutely no idea what he's talking about. And then at the end of the conversation, she's like, I know you, you're Hendo. And he's like, and so I'm just thinking, oh yeah, she's obviously knows Hendo. He's a beer guy and everything. And she goes, you used to come to Fridays back in 1994 when I was.
Holy shit. He would have had hair back then.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's a long ass time ago.
Far?
Yeah.
Yeah. I assumed that he would have had hair back then, but maybe he didn't, and she could probably just pick him and
either that or like we asked her, we're like, this is like not normal. She just worked there and she just recognized a customer. Either he was there like every second of every day, which is definitely possible, or but she did actually say like I've got like a crazy knack for names and faces and stuff. I just like never forget anyone's face. You might be listening because we got her to subscribe to the podcast. So
I'll shout out. Yep, shout out.
Shout out to the person whose name I've already forgotten after recognizing Hendo after 30 years.
I'm terrible with names too, man. So don't worry.
Yeah, we had an awesome cocktail from her, like some sour gin thing. It was great.
Yep. Yeah, nice.
And then we went to Working Title after, which was cool too, because I hadn't been there since the change.
Yeah, actually, I don't think I've been there since they've changed over either. I could have been. I don't know. Sometimes I end up in the city and I don't remember that I got there. So,
well, I went there on the launch day for Newstead, which was like before we even started Black Ops. So I think it was like 2014 or something. It's a long ass time ago, but almost 10 years ago. And we were there on the day of the launch. And I think I've been back once or twice, but I don't live in Brisbane, so I don't get up there very often.
Yeah.
The place looks so new, the tanks and everything, like it just looks brand new.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I definitely want to get in and check it out for sure. It's
they kept the tanks in good shape.
Yeah, well, that's actually where when it was Newstead and there wasn't even the Milton one, but that's where I first tasted the Adam beer because they used to have their Barrel Fest festival there, and so they'd have all these barrel beers that they'd have shipped in, and there was I want to say Hawkers, that it was Hawkers that did an Adam beer, but I can't remember. There was two different Adam beers that I tried there, and yeah, so that's why next Tuesday at Hiker Adam beer.
Yeah, that's next Tuesday. Oh shit! Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Shout out. Oh, we're not going to encourage people to come to that though. We'll encourage them to come to the I'll come, but we'll encourage them to come to when we launch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be around January or something. I think Dan's planning, but
yeah, right. So it'll sit in the barrel for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to sit in there too long, especially in Queensland summer. It'll pick up pretty quick. So he'll just be on top of that, and I'll just keep pestering him.
Yeah.
Having drinks.
Yeah, nice.
So,
anything happening with you that you want to talk about, or you want to get into the news and whatnot?
Oh man, no. We're coming up on the end of our podcast. So who do we interview? We got Matt Wolf from Brew Baron at West End, and then I think there's a double episode of Matt Kierkegaard. We sat down and we interviewed him, put him on the other side of the microphone.
Nice.
Which was hard because I was thinking that he was going to start interviewing us.
Did you talk about crowdfunding at all, or brew,
no,
or
no? I tried to keep it at like about when he had like his beer mat sort of things, and
Yeah.
like like it is like what it is. It's not an interview of him at Brews News. It's an interview of him in the beer industry. So I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. Joel's finished it, and I need to watch it, but yeah, I haven't done it yet. But yeah, and then we're gonna have we're doing a live. So we do awards. Joel and I do ABV awards for our podcast every year. So we've got all these different award categories, and I forgot to send them out this year because I smashed my face on the scooter.
You did, yes.
And I said to Joel that I was going to look after sending the awards out to all of the breweries, and I
Like the
completely
prizes, you
forgot
mean?
about it. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I only sent them out like last week.
Oh,
So
whoops.
it was, yeah, and I had to admit it to Joel, and I wrote a big letter in apology to all the brewers, saying, "Oh, yep, sorry about this, my bad." But yeah, but they got their awards now, which is cool.
You got a
And
decent excuse.
so yeah, we're doing a live streamed awards ceremony at Hiker this year on the 3rd of December. So if you're around on the 3rd of December, it's a Saturday. It's a Sunday.
Yep.
1:30 at Hiker. Come down and be in the live audience and
Nice. Very good. And
about the
when did the
awards that we
Matt
do.
Wolf and Matt Kirkengard interviews come out?
Yeah. Sorry.
When do those interviews come out? Just for people who want to
So
check that
Matt's
out.
comes out this weekend.
They're both Matt. Aren't they both Matt?
Yeah, they are both Matt. There's like 3 Matts, I think, that we've interviewed this year. So
there's more Matts than Adam Shells.
There is. Yeah, there's 2 Matty Wilsons. So yeah, Matt's comes out of this one, the 22nd, and then Matt Kierkegaard's is on the 5th of November and the 19th.
Nice.
And then we've got our awards on the 3rd, and then we're doing a year in review episode as well. We're going to look back and talk about some of our best episodes and best guests and experiences, and a lot of it will involve me drinking beer because Joel's normally walking around setting up cameras and microphones and shit, and I'm at the bar with a beer.
Yeah. So, I mean, people probably listen to it, but what's the best way to people to check that out before we get into the news?
Aussie Beer Voyage.
On Spotify or YouTube?
On Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, YouTube. Yeah, we're pretty much everywhere.
Very good. All right. And just on the podcast topic, before we get into the news, Hendo's mentioned last week he did an interview on how not to start a damn brewery is the name of his podcast. And I noticed on my feed today that first one of those came out.
Yeah, I'm halfway through.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
So I've listened to about an hour's worth. And it's super interesting because I obviously know Hendo really well. He's a real good mate of mine, and
yeah,
I know a lot of the history of brew cult and stuff. But yeah, it's still like Hendo's a massive onion. He still peels back layers and says things that you never heard. And as he said in his post, like it was pretty real and raw and emotional because there's a few things that he just talks about, like how downtrodden he was himself.
Yeah, nice. All right, I'm looking forward to. I'm about 5 minutes in. But I've got that in the show notes, bossandthebrewer.com, if you want to check that out. And it's good stuff.
It's a really good. It's a good podcast. I'll probably pick up and listen to a few other episodes that old mate's done as well.
Yeah, I think this might be like a multi-part thing that Hendo's doing. I don't know, but like he said, it was like a 5-part thing.
Yeah, the episode that I saw is like 2 hours and 9 minutes. So I'm not sure whether he edited out a shitload of stuff that Hendo talked about and crammed it into just one episode of 2 hours, or well, I don't know, but
we'll find out.
Plugging away.
Yeah. All right. Right. So news, not a huge amount, but I've got this one from the Shout: Australia's alcohol consumption trends downwards.
Yep.
That's the headline, but it would. I mean, if you look in the article here, it sort of said AIHW figures state that 2019-20 there was 209 million litres of pure alcohol were made available in Australia, 0.7% decrease from the year before. So it's 2-year-old data.
Yeah.
And it's not real. I mean, 0.7% down.
Yeah, I think, I don't think you're never going to really get these figures exact because like people might be brewing a lot of beer or making a lot of wine or spirits. And we've seen like the gin industry just explode in Australia, and all of that sort of stuff. But then it might be produced, but then it's not necessarily like it's not necessarily being drunk within that time period either. Especially some of the spirits and shit like that and the wines.
This is also
Um,
during the middle of COVID when you could barely get any alcohol into the country. So
yeah, and
yeah,
I reckon, man, COVID is going to fuck up people's data for years to come, like
yeah,
generations. There's going to be an asterisk next to so many spreadsheets of don't take this data as gospel. This was very strange and that
yeah,
sort of stuff. Because like a lot of brewery operators and stuff, like it's really hard to look back on history and go, well, where do we go? Because 3 years ago was COVID was in the midst of, and
yeah.
you weren't
Exactly.
selling much across the
How do you
bar
make
because you
sense of
couldn't.
those
So
numbers?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the numbers are just weird to look at. So yeah, all of these sort of things that go back, and I can tell they're probably looking at it from a perspective of they've given the data before COVID, but I don't know. It's I definitely think that alcohol consumption is dropping. Just as someone who's worked in the industry for so long, just seeing people coming into the bars,
yeah,
I think it's a drink driving thing. I think it's health that people are trying to get off it, and I just also think that people just can't afford it.
that's what I was wondering. But like, if you look at a stat standalone and you draw conclusions that people are kind of deciding to drink less alcohol, but when everything's getting 7, 8, 9, 10+% more expensive, that's one of the major contributors to not buying something is the price of it. It's like the
Yeah.
number one thing. So
Yep.
surely there's going to be less port.
100%. I remember I used to work for a home brew shop, and when alcohol prices started to go up with CPI, we
Mm,
would get a lot of influx of people coming in and wanting to learn how to home brew beer and
yeah,
stuff because not they didn't all stick with it because some of them just it's home brewing beer is like doing it professionally in a sense. Like if you want to have good beer, you've got to do it properly, and some people just won't
yeah,
because it is expensive if you need to do it properly. But yeah, like you always see that influx of people coming in who wanted to learn how to do it so that they could save some coin. So
yeah,
it's I think it's more I reckon it's more of an economy thing than anything because the prices have just gone through the roof. I mean, you remember all those bars like 10, 15 years ago, you could still get like a bucket of Coronas for $10 and there'd be
yeah.
5 or 6 of them in a bucket. Um, you'll never see that anymore. You'll never see that again around
Mm.
those prices, I don't reckon.
Yeah, and I think
Um,
it's kind of like I don't know how much of it's in your head, but you sort of you do have those memories of what things used to be like in a sense. Like, I used to, when I first started getting into wine, I could get a bottle of wine from, the bottle shop for $10 that I reckon was pretty good.
yep.
Right. And as you get older, I can't drink a bottle of wine anymore that's $10 or $15, that I can even really want to drink.
Yeah.
Like you go to a festival on the weekend, like the cheapest bottles of wine there were like $30. Those are the kind of wines I like.
Yep.
Um, you can't drink all that kind of wine all the time unless you've got a shitload of money.
No, I buy all my wine through Vino Mofo,
Yeah,
and because I find that I can get some really good wines at a decent price. They're not through the roof, but they're also not in the cheap bin. But you can the only problem is you've got to buy a box of it, and
yeah,
and if can take a couple of days to come, and if you haven't thought about it and you feel like a wine and you've run out, that's the only problem. You just can't just duck to the shops and get the wine that you want without paying a lot of money. And then,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But it's a consideration, isn't it? It's like it's kind of like just that
yeah,
in your head. You're kind of like, if I buy a bottle of wine, it's going to cost me $30, and that's it's quite a lot of money.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think you're right too. Like people just, as a general rule, probably drinking a little bit less. But I think it's probably a little bit overblown by articles like this that,
Yeah.
a little bit misleading.
I think though also, I think the drinking culture that we used to have in Australia has changed. Like it used to be that almost that sense of pride, like, oh yeah, Australians can drink people under the table. People used to love talking about, oh, you go to Australia, it's full of drunks and blah blah blah. But
Yeah,
I don't think it is that anymore. Like there's
true.
still that culture and those trends, and you're going to have all of those different scenes, people in different scenery who do that, but it's not like what it used to be.
Yeah, and also, do you think I don't know, we don't talk about much on this podcast, but like when I was growing up, it was basically like alcohol was legal, and it was kind of frowned upon to drink when you were under 18, but everyone did.
Yeah.
Drugs were like pretty much like a rebel sort of thing to do, like, or anything outside of alcohol. I mean, alcohol is a drug, right?
Yep.
Any kind of drug outside of alcohol was, like you kind of like I was never anyone into this kind of stuff, but
Yep.
you kind of felt like it was, you're breaking the law. It's you kind of
Yeah.
underground kind of shit. Like the whole mentality has changed around that stuff. I feel like
Yeah,
there's a
definitely.
lot more options for people too. So I don't know if that affects the amount
I think
people
it
drink.
does because people are getting their buzz from something that's a lot cheaper that
Yeah,
lasts a lot longer.
that's kind of what I was getting at. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's yeah, I think there's just a lot of things hammering it down, but hopefully it's like, you know, denim on denim fashion from the 80s that shit comes back in cycles.
hopefully, hopefully, yeah. All right. Okay. Good. Speaking of which, Good Drinks launches Ride or Lite, which is supposed to, I suppose, appeal to the people that apparently not drinking too much anymore, which is the
Yep.
younger people. Um, this beer has 78 calories. It's a glass bottle with ink in it that turns purple. When you chill it, which I mean, it's that bit. I actually think this is actually pretty well executed. This whole thing, but
Yeah.
um, that bit I was cringing a little bit. It's like, do young people really look at a beer that changes color and just think, "Fuck yeah, this is gonna make me cool"? Like that's the biggest old person thing I can think of. Is like, let's make a hypercolor.
Yeah.
Um,
It's I was actually talking to the guys at Rallings the other day about temperature sensitive ink on beer labels and how popular it was because I was just exploring an idea and then we got onto the topic of hypercolor shirts
yeah,
and
yeah,
I ended up calling Jilly at Thirsty Merchants going, "Oh, can you get them?" Like,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, I reckon these sort of beers, like I reckon they're good, and people will like them and drink them for sure. What's that? What's that one over in the States? The athletic one? Is
Yeah,
it called
yeah.
that one? Like
That's
that
non-alc
one's.
though, isn't it? Is that non-alc or is it
I
just like
think it is.
electrolyte sort of?
Yeah, but I think I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things coming in on like, or they want to come in on the labels and stuff at the moment. Like for Sands is trying to bring in on the labels that if you're going to say that it's gluten free or carb free, you need to have it tested and show all of that shit. And but
I
then
think
you've got
I
that
think
other
you
flip
probably
side of
should
the
because it's
coin
a bit
where
of
ABAC and that say you can't have a beer that says it's healthy.
yeah, it's pushing the
And
limits. But they're not the first to do it. Remember, Stone and Wood had that, or Counterculture had that Reinvigorate one that was
yeah,
sort
yeah,
of pitched as like like a healthy
yeah,
electrolyte sort of beer.
yeah.
Um,
And the boys at Currumbin did one
Grumman
as
guys
well.
did it, didn't they? Yeah,
Yeah.
for a
So
Gabs beer, wasn't it? Wasn't that one of their Gabs beers?
I think it was. It was the Perco, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is sort of blurring the lines a little bit if you can't promote. And it's interesting the way they've executed it. Like the branding is it's very. It doesn't look like it's a brand new brand for one.
Yep.
And it just says brewed light LITE with electrolytes
Yeah, well, that's
under
the
the
thing too, right? Like, because it's from Good Drinks, which is Gauge, but it doesn't say Gauge Roads on it. It's just
no.
quite a light. It's a specific. It's almost like they're trying to create their own category.
Yeah, but it really it's just it's kind of the same as Better Beer and all the others, right?
Yeah.
Or it's competing with those beers,
Mm.
which is getting increasingly competitive. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like Gage would generally do a pretty good job at everything they do. This one's a little weird, but
Yeah.
maybe it'll go well.
I wonder if this is almost the start of the beers that blur the line between beers and RTDs, where it's not much flavor and it's just you just drink it for the sake of drinking it.
Yeah, but didn't Modus had some one like that this week, didn't they? Where it was like straight up RTD.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Let's have a look. Yeah, this thing. Welcome Australia's first ever spiked Tapachi. I don't even know what that is. Motor styles for the Aussies who's never heard this. Pretty well, everyone. Tapachi. That may not be the way you pronounce it. I don't know.
Yep.
It's a traditional Mexican street side recipe. It says recipe. I wonder what that means.
Yeah.
that infuses pineapple and cinnamon into a crisp, refreshing, and wholly new style of fermented alcoholic beverage.
Yeah. I mean,
Slightly milder than kombucha or tepache. See, that's a straight up RTD, isn't it?
yeah. Yeah. It's,
Um,
I don't know, man. I think the beer landscape's changing so much and so fast, and there's just so many options, and
mm,
people are still trying to stand out, and we can't learn quick enough what we need to be doing and how to do collaborative beers. Or like, I mean, at some point you can see the US has shrunk, and
mm,
they're doing it as tough as what we are. And I reckon that it's very similar. Like, and we're not as far behind the US now. Like, COVID
yeah.
sort of leveled the playing field, and the internet's helped us shrink the world with all sorts of stuff. And so the economy, what it's doing over there, is happening over here at the same time. And people, I think there's just too much beer.
Yeah.
And not, I don't mean in quantity, I mean just in brands. Like, there's
Yeah.
just so much shit.
But there's also, if you think about, like, if you go to the bottle shop and you're overwhelmed by the amount of brands, if you think about the two massive companies who've got all these brands, they own almost everything you can see. And then outside of that, you've got Coles and Woolies who own the bottle shop, who have all of their product in there as well.
Yep.
And then they probably have, let's say 3 or 4 of the well-known nationally distributed brands.
Yep.
And then, like, what's left for everyone else? Like, yeah, I don't want to whinge too much because it sounds like
No.
we are, but it's a tough game.
Yeah. Yeah. And, oh, look, I'll try this beer, but I don't know that I'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I probably won't try it. Or maybe I'll try the purple thing just to remind me of having my hypercolor T-shirt and make me feel young.
Yeah. If you've got one, I wish I could find one.
Yeah, no, mine is long gone. It didn't actually work for that long.
No, because the friggin' you had to wash them,
Yeah,
like, in cold water and hand wash them, and no parent was ever going to do that for you.
no. All right, Finer Drop Festival details announced. So this is cool. I think this is like a festival put on by Gabs.
Yep.
Actually sounds pretty good. It's at the race course. There's breweries like Dollar Bill, Mountain Culture,
Yeah.
and Seals from Grease and Garage Project. Also wines and Archie Rose and Bilson's other spirits. And then there's Three Blue Ducks doing food, and
Yep.
there's like art galleries and shit. It actually sounds pretty cool. It seems like a reasonable idea for a beer festival to kind of pivot and do
Yeah.
something, upmarket.
It's interesting that Three Blue Ducks is doing food, and Traveller beer isn't mentioned.
Are they affiliated?
Well, isn't it the I forget his name, Andy Allen, the guy who owns Three Blue Ducks from MasterChef. He also owns Traveller, or not own it outright, but he's definitely got ties to it.
Oh, okay. I met one of the guys from Three Blue Ducks. I don't think his name wasn't Adam. It was
Andy.
Andy, maybe. Oh, sorry, Andy. No, it was the other guy.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, I
didn't know they were involved in Traveller. That's interesting.
As a whole, this sounds pretty cool. But I wonder if a premium drinking food festival, like, is that where it's going to start going now? Is that how people are going to want to do beers instead of going to breweries, and that they're going to just go to festivals and pay more? And
I mean,
we just had beer
festivals
festival across all of ours.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good thing to do. Like the Pino palooza thing was a nice, fun thing to do, but Gab's like shat all over it. Gab's way more fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if there's going to be more breweries announced.
Yeah, there's not many there, is there?
No.
Some good ones though.
Yeah, definitely. I've never heard of Seven Seals, but I love anything that I've never heard of and can try and have a taste of. It's,
yeah, exactly.
I love experiencing new stuff.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And then there's another one from Gabs, which I actually didn't know about this. There's at Gabs, apparently there's like a bar for up and coming breweries. So they put expression of interest out. to be part of that. I assume for the Gabs that's coming up next year.
Yep.
Did you know about this? I don't remember seeing like a bar for new
Yeah.
breweries. But...
So at Gabs, at Brisbane, that's where we actually stood next to. So
so that was that was why Hiker was there.
So Hiker,
Yeah,
Woolgoolga,
that makes sense. Yeah.
yep, and Psycho Susie's, I think it was up here.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that idea.
Yeah, so I think it's really cool too. I think it's great that because you know what it's like Gabs isn't cheap to go to. And if you're a small brewery that hasn't even been to Gabs and never had that exposure, and then you look at the price of a stand like 1,300, and then you got to think of accommodation, you got to get your stock there, you got to it's an investment.
Oh yeah.
And then to be able for Gabs to be able to put people on and say there's going to be 2 taps for you there, and you get to share your brand with people who might not have heard it. I was super excited to see a lot there because I hadn't been out to Warwick to see Psycho Susie's, and I wanted to try some of their beers, and Yep Brewing. I wanted to taste theirs because I've been following their journey as well. Hiker, I obviously know them, and Charlie at Woolgoolga, but I was stoked to taste Charlie's beers because I don't get down to Woolgoolga ever. So
yeah, I have actually been to his breweries, but I was paying such little attention to that stand. I just kind of thought that was a Hiker stand.
Yeah, no, so yeah, that's the up and coming section of the breweries. So yeah, I'm stoked. So yeah, but I wonder how long it can sort of go for, because if the breweries are no longer opening as much, I wonder sort of because who's open this year? How many have we had open this year?
I mean, you wouldn't take much, would it? If it's only like four breweries, wouldn't be that hard to get them. But I don't know. Maybe that's why they're putting the call out now, because they make sure they fill them up.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I'll read the requirements. So if you're a new or emerging or contract brewery brand that launched after 1 January 2020 and has never exhibited at Gabs.
Yeah.
So yeah, good idea. If you,
I think it's good too because it's the same state as the festival is invited to apply. So it looks like you'll get 4 from Victoria, 4 from New South Wales, and 4 from Queensland. So that's 12 breweries that get that experience. That you look at someone like Dollar Bill, for example, that people probably don't get to experience that all too often, and they hear about it in the news that it's won all these awards. But if they go something like that, people get to experience them. So yeah, I reckon it's good.
100%. All right, final one we've got is Beneficial Beer Co. announced their crowdfunding. So this was an interesting one. We've had 2 crowdfunding announcements in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yep.
And none for quite a long time.
I don't know that I'd be. I mean, you're more experienced with crowdfunding than me, but surely now, in this current economy, isn't the time to be asking people to jump in, would it?
I think it's going to be really interesting. There's also, I should mention that the Brews News did an interview on the podcast this week, which was actually pretty good. I know Matt can be pretty savage about crowdfunding, and he's when he's onto something, he doesn't stop. Yeah. But the interview, the guy he had on was very good.
I'm only halfway through that episode as well.
Yeah, and he made some interesting points in there, so it's worth checking that out. But I think the thing they didn't discuss on that, which I think is worth talking about, is just the topic of valuation, and just the fact that, I don't think there's not necessarily a good or bad time to do any kind of crowdfunding. I see crowdfunding as just raising investment for a company. It's called crowdfunding, but it's not that different to a normal round.
Of your locals and they want to support you, that's the whole name of the game, right?
But I guess the point that I think is important is, and we've seen this with a lot of startups in America, is when you got a high growth company, the company is valued like a startup. It's valued it's valued as if the company keeps growing, it's going to be worth a fuckload of money. So in an environment where there's big acquisitions happening and people are buying breweries or buying startups, or there's big listings happening and these companies are growing at 40, 50, 60, 100, 200% a year,
Yep.
That's a startup. Even if it's been around a while, there's in America, they've got startups that are 10, 15 years old, but if they're still doubling in value, they'll be valued at a high revenue multiple.
Yeah.
And if it's a really good business, like a software business or something like that, it might be 10x revenue or more.
Yep.
But what's happened the last couple of years is those valuations have completely fallen out of the floor because the company stopped growing. And if a company is not growing, then it's no longer a high growth startup, and it's just a normal company.
Yeah.
And normal companies are valued based on earnings, not on revenue. And so, you're looking at an absolutely gigantic difference between the valuations of a startup and the valuations of a normal company. And what I'm going to be interested in is, in these two examples, Filter and Beneficial Beer Co., are these companies still growing? And if so, maybe you can charge, you can say, okay, the revenue multiple is this because we're a high growth company. We think we're going to be the next Bolter. But if they're not growing, then how do you value that? If they're not growing, they're not profitable. And there's no chance of an acquisition. What's it actually worth?
Yeah, and at the moment too, like with people struggling just to get people in the door, like it's easy for me because where I work, like we've got 8 venues. So when you've got like one venue, it's easy to sit there and you have to look around and talk to your mates and go, oh, is it us? Is it our location? Is it our beers? Like, is it our service or is it our food? Like, what's going wrong with our business here? How do we pick it up? But when you got 8 venues and you can see across all of them, you can talk to all the venue managers, and they're all like the same. It's just like, oh, it's just hard to get people in and things like that. Like you can see, and then you do talk to the other brewery people as well outside of your business, and they're saying the same thing where you're like going, yeah, it's having a big impact. And and that impact has that follow on, as you said, to the likes of these things. So I hope they make a lot of money. I hope they raise their money. Like I'm good mates with Max from Filter, the head brewer down there. And so I hope that they get what they do, and I think this Beneficial one would be cool as well. Like if they've got the support of the locals, that's all you need, right? I think your mates really showed what local support can do for your fundraise. Like I reckon they could have put their fundraise at 5 million, I reckon, and they still would have cleaned it. Because so many people were trying to get into it, and it was, from what I understand, it was just a lot of staff that were super involved and supportive of the brand and the locals, like the families of the staff who worked there, that were predominantly the people who got those sort of shares. So
but I think it's the time as well. You can't. It's like selling a house. You can't. You can sell exactly the same house one year, 3 or 4 years, before or after that year, it's worth half or twice as much. It's exactly the same thing, but the market is important. If the market is not, I think the market now is basically in a way where, as far as I can tell, everyone's struggling. The best brands have been bought out, so now the majors make the beer and have the mind share of the consumers with all the best brands. Not buying anything. So, telling the story of, we're going to get acquired, we're going for an acquisition. I don't know. I feel like people know that's not going to happen. Really, like the only chance I think at this point is for a company to come out of somewhere and have some kind of, awesome growth, like a Better Beer type company. And it be good enough to sustain however long this period's going to last of the majors making and owning awesome craft breweries and not fucking them up. And
we haven't heard much about Better Beer lately either.
No, well, they're so tied to Mighty Craft. I think that's just, I just feel like that's just going to drag along until Mighty Craft just crash and burn.
Because you just haven't heard of them. Like it used to be, Better Beer this, winning this so many liters, and it's been quiet on the radar.
I would suspect they're still crushing it. I don't know. How would you know?
I haven't ever had any of this Beneficial beer. Have you ever had any of their beers?
I haven't had the beer, but we did have David Jackson on the podcast way back in one of, I think it was episode, let me have a look at it if I can find it. It was a long time at 15, I think. Let me have a look. Oh no, 14, episode 14. So way back in December 2001. So I know he's been on this for quite a while. And I think we were talking to him about NFT beers from memory. Let's have a look. Yeah. So I'll link to that in the show notes as well.
Speaking of markets that have died in the ass.
Yeah. I mean, at the time it was kind of like a bit of fun. It wasn't like a serious, this is going to change the game type thing.
Yeah.
But I'm just putting this in the show notes so I don't forget. But yeah, no, I mean, they've been around for a while. There's some interesting stats I put in the bottom of the show notes. Said they're featured nationally in 400 Aldi stores, which is
like you look at what they've done. Like, they've featured nationally in Aldi, 3 core range, 2 limiteds, in Liquorland, exported to New Zealand. They want to expand so they can export more to Singapore and Southeast Asian markets. Like, they got some really cool lofty goals and stuff of what they want to do, which is really cool.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to watch that.
Yeah.
And interesting to see how, like, with the valuation part of it, I'm super keen to see the filter thing, because my suspicion is that I literally know nothing about their business, but my suspicion is they're not growing, in recent times. Like, if they're sort of quoting stats from a long time ago, then my suspicion is the recent growth is not.
They've got the, like, so you got like Brick Lane who do like a non-alc, and there's a whole bunch of people that do non-alcs. There's Sober who do non-alcs. But these guys.
I meant filter, but yeah, no. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. But I just think, I don't know. I'm not sure how crowdfunding in this market is going to go.
But you're right about that. It's like non-alc is so competitive. It's kind of crazy. But like I'm always like, me and Hendo are both not very bullish about the non-alc thing. Like, it's just not something either of us are particularly into. But in the beneficial beer ads they're putting on Instagram, one of the things I noticed, it said 31% of Aussie adults currently purchase non-alcoholic beverages. That's interesting. I mean, that's definitely higher than I would have thought, if that number is correct. I mean, I suppose it depends how frequently you purchase them, but like,
Man,
I've never purchased one, I don't think.
If I'm not drinking beer and I had the chance, I always drink beer. Although I did have a week off beer, and a hiker missed me for a whole week because I didn't go there.
But if you were like having a night off beer, or having a weekend off, or a week off, like I would just not drink any beer. I would just,
I'm the same. Like, I like the flavor of beer, and so I would just have a beer. But in saying that, when I was at BrewCon, the Bridge Road had their hip hop water. It's called. Man, that thing is insane. That tastes absolutely amazing. It's so good, such a good alternative. And
that's another big one from America, that hopper or whatever. That's another huge
hopper. Yep. Like, I don't know whether it was because I was so hungover at BrewCon, and that was just what I needed. But no, I don't know. I'm sort of like you. If I'm not going to drink beer, if I'm not going to drink alcohol, then I just don't drink anything that sort of tastes like it or looks like it. For the sake of it, I don't need that. I'm happy with water. Or
All right, let's see if we've got any questions. I was a bit late on posting this in the group, so might not be much in here. Oh wait, we've got Adzy Reacts. Can you? I don't know if you can do this. Do you know? Wait, hang on a second. Can I give you permission? Security. Yeah, share screen. Are you comfortable sharing your screen to do an Adzy Reacts?
Yeah.
When you click share screen, you'll see on the screen down the bottom a checkbox to share audio.
Okay.
Do that, and then click on that link in that Google Doc. That where it says Adzy Reacts link 1.
Oh, yep. Share sound.
Let's see if this works. I haven't actually watched this video, so I'm kind of interested to watch it as well.
All right, hang on. What do I? Okay, fuck me. Now I sound like Hendo, which is what I don't want to do.
Yeah, well, it's
Am I looking on the Facebook page or on the?
Oh, for the link?
Yeah.
I'll no, it's in the Google Doc. I'll put it into Zoom. Do you want to look in the Zoom chat?
Yep.
All right, let's see if you look in Zoom, are you in the Zoom chat? Chat.
Yep.
See that link?
Oh, the Kickstarter one.
Kickstarter one. That's it.
All right. Can you see my screen there?
I can see it. I wonder if the audio is going to work. Let's see. So it's a hybrid pint glass by Elevated Craft, an ingenious blend of design and functionality that takes your beer drinking experience to a new level.
Chillable glass. Yeah. Okay. Are we watching? I reckon that looks pretty fucking cool.
It looks cool. Watch that video. Let's see if this works with the audio.
Oh shit! Sorry.
We don't get copyright struck. Here we go. It is
Introducing the Hybrid Pint Glass by Elevated Craft, an ingenious blend of design and functionality to elevate your beer drinking experience.
I'm Zach Fowle, Advanced Cicerone, aka Sommelier of Beer. I've dedicated my career to the art of craft beer. And while I deeply respect tradition, I'm also all about innovation. Whether your beer of choice comes from a bottle or a can, it deserves to be savored from a glass. This simple act unlocks the complex symphony of hops, malt, and yeast.
Wow,
so what makes the hybrid pint glass so special? To start, the vacuum-insulated stainless steel base provides maximum temperature control, so you'll never have a warm beer again.
This on audio,
further enhance your experience.
He's putting a glass inside a stainless steel.
Yeah.
Almost like a
It's like just one of those water bottles, vacuum thing, water bottles.
Yeah.
You can even chill your glass insert in your beer fridge. This will lock in the ideal serving temperature based on the beer style you prefer. Whether you've dialed in your beer fridge to keep your stouts and double IPAs right at 44 degrees, or you're quenching your thirst with homemade michelada, this glass ensures your last sip is as cold as your first.
Yeah, michelada is it's a lager beer with like a chili salt.
Oh wow!
And tomato. It's almost like a Bloody Mary mixed with a beer.
Wow.
Yeah, we had them at Helios.
Next up, let's talk about the perfect pour. Unlike a traditional pint glass, the unique shape of this glass insert helps to release carbon dioxide, which is a critical step when pouring a beer. A properly poured beer not only enhances the flavor and aroma, it also reduces the amount of gas that ends up in your gut. Check out these two beers. Note that they both have a nice collar of foam on top, but the one improperly poured in the traditional pint glass still has a ton of CO2 trapped in the beer that's going to end up in your stomach. And that's not going to feel good. When you put the glass insert into the steel base, you'll notice the innovative glass lock ring takes hold and secures the parts together.
It's like a Yeti,
As you hold the hybrid pint glass, you'll appreciate its ergonomic design. The shape nestles comfortably in your hand, and the weighted glass has a heavy-duty, high-quality feel.
This is a lot of effort.
You can't forget the cherry on top, a stealthily integrated bottle opener in the steel base. It's a handy feature that doesn't detract from the glass's sleek design. With its superior temperature control and thoughtful design,
thing about this is this got
pint glass truly stands in a league of its own. Experience the future of beer enjoyment with the hybrid pint glass from Elevated Craft. Cheers.
That's fucking insane.
Elevated Craft hybrid pint glass, take one.
And action.
I'm Adam Craft, founder of Elevated Craft, and we're launching our third Kickstarter campaign with the Hybrid Pint Glass. At Elevated Craft, we're not just making products, we're creating experiences that bring people closer to the art and joy of craft beverages. Join me in experiencing beer in a whole...
than that statement he just said. But anyway, come on, dude. Some marketing guy's like, yes, I made the best.
Thank you for being part of this incredible journey.
We're creating experiences with our glass.
Oh, dude, stop. Did I miss... I was talking way too much throughout that. Did I miss? Is this literally just a glass with like a Yeti for a glass?
It's basically a Yeti base, and then there's a glass that fits exactly into that, and it's like it's got a rib around the whole glass that like locks into that stainless.
That's not smart enough. That's just a fucking glass with a stainless steel on the outside. That's so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, people will like it. It's pretty cool.
Why is it cool?
You know,
I don't know.
Because it keeps your things cold, but that's the whole thing, right? Like they were showing stouts and stuff, and You don't always want your stouts to stay fucking cold. You want them to warm up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm a fan of the Yeti, but the Yeti's like a thing you can buy for $10 and very convenient.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. What's the $44? Oh, 70 Australian.
$70. Yeah.
$70 AU.
I want to know how much the replacement glasses are.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
going to be a problem.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
These guys
As
must be
soon as
the kings of marketing to be able to sell $500,000 worth of that. That's
As
crazy.
soon as you break your glass, you're right. Like you break your glass, what are you going to do?
Well, I bet you they've deal with that objection. If you look down the list, they probably deal with that. They probably give you multiple glasses, or the glass is probably really cheap.
Yeah, I don't know. See, but then they make the glasses stackable, and as soon as you start stacking glasses, and I know every pub does them, every glassy carries them around. I know that's just what happens, unless you got like the fluted ones, I suppose. But as soon as you do that, you create nucleation points in the glasses where the glasses touch.
Right.
So the glasses touch and crash, and then that's where you end up with nucleation marks. And then so instead of like your glass of beer there, you get scratches here, and they'll turn into nucleation points in the glass.
Yeah. I don't know whatever word you just used was awesome. But I think I understood what you said.
Yeah.
What do you mean, anyway? That point there about the bloated pour thing.
Oh,
I've seen a video on TikTok that's gone viral that basically makes that exact point. I mean, it seems like it's probably bullshit, but I have no idea.
yeah. And he's just trying to say you need to not pour it. Begin pouring aggressively, but you can't pour it aggressively if you pour it anyway. Fucking hell.
I think it's amazing they've sold $600,000. Go up to the top. How long has this been got to go?
7 days.
3,000
A week to
people,
go.
7 days to go.
That was their goal. 23,000.
That's insane. There must be. I mean, America's a big place, right? There must be a lot of people who drink.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit crazy.
We should do an over under. Well, you can't really do it. I got to do an over under with Hendo about what number they will hit by the end of 7 days. That would be an interesting one.
I haven't looked at Kickstarter in ages. Like, what does it still go off in the last 2 days of people jumping on the bandwagon, getting the last big deals, or does it?
I haven't either.
Yeah,
it's kind of just disappeared off the radar.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. All right. Okay, let's do the stop screen share, which should be up the top.
Yep.
And we probably don't have too many questions because I only put it in like half an hour before. And yeah, but let's do 12 questions. I'm guessing there's not going to be 12. Where are we? All right. Question. Oh, yeah, a couple in here. Oh, God. Okay, wow, this is not a question. You know what? Let's just do this could have been a Hendo Reacts, but or an Adzy Reacts. Man drinking 2,000. It's a Lad Bible article. Man drinking 2,000 pints in 200 days had set himself monumental task for final day. Oh God, I don't want to know about this.
2,000 pints in 200 days, so 10 pints a day.
That's a terrible idea.
That's a lot of beer.
A man who has challenged himself to drink 2,000 pints in 200 days has set the bar high for the final 24 hours. As John May's beer guzzling experiment draws to a close, the pressure is certainly building. 25-year-old has shared this bizarre journey, which has no doubt been plagued with ground-shaking burps on TikTok. What's the mammoth goal?
That's 5.7 litres of beer a day.
Oh, my God.
Like, I don't think I even drink that much water and
That's
beer
crazy.
in one sitting.
So
that's a lot of beer.
What's the final day? He's on day 197. My God, he's drunk 1,984 pints. This is an average of 10.07 a day. This guy's going to die.
It can't be good for you.
And yesterday, we've got 3 days left, 16 pints left, so we need to drink an average of 5 pints a day. That's no worries. We're going to have 5 today, then we're going to have 2 on Thursday. Oh, my God.
Although it
leaving
does
9 for
remind
the
me,
final day. Wait, what's the date of this article?
it
19th
does
of
remind me
October.
of
Like,
that
that's
guy.
today.
Like, yeah, we got. Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, I got to look up where this is at. Wait. TikTok. Don't know. It's linking me to Lad, but I want to see his TikTok. Yeah, none of these articles link to like the actual place, but
Yeah,
okay, this is too hard. I'm not going to do that. That's crazy and that's stupid.
that's that. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I don't know. I don't know how you'd feel after that. 10 pints is a lot, right? I guess it depends on the ABV of the beer. And you'd want to have to either really enjoy that beer or you have to have, like, it's going to cost him a heap.
Oh yeah, maybe he's got sponsorship probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
still.
if we can get people to send us free beer, this dude drinking 2,000 beers at 200 days has probably got beer being thrown at him.
Yeah, I don't know. 200 days, 200 beers, 2,000 beers. That's a lot of beer. I know that I like beer and I drink a lot of it, but man, 10 pints in a day? That's a lot of beer.
That's a lot. All right, question number 2. So I put one of the Adams Schell is filling in tonight for our fearless globetrotting leader. Now, question number 2 is from Louis G. Question : which of the 5? So this is probably an opportunity for you to clarify exactly which of the Adams Schell you are.
Yes. So I was the one who created the Adams Schell Facebook group. So
Okay.
I'm the number 1 of the Adams Shells.
Right.
That's
Wow.
what I look at it as.
That's shots
Found the
fired, isn't it?
others.
To the other
I don't
ones?
think I have to be the eldest. So it's if it, in our name, like in our name, Adams Schell name, the reason why there's so many is that it does go back in history. Like I can trace my family tree back to like the 1500s, and Adams Schell was a regular name all the way through. So yeah, it's just one of those. It's just one of those things. So I'm not
is
the
that
first.
is anyone gonna argue with that statement that you're the number 1 Adams Schell?
No, because I've got a bigger social media presence.
Whoa, these are really fighting words here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even mind if they do or don't. It's I find it funny. I think it was funny that the other guys joined as well.
All right, Louis G, who by the way is one of our top 3 Facebook members, because I put a post during the week of our top 3 most active members.
Yep.
Also, probably the most prolific questioner asker.
Yeah.
Coops
was up there for a while, but he hasn't sort of kept up with the question asking.
Maybe we didn't say enough positive things about non-alcoholic beer, and it just dropped off the radar.
Yeah, maybe
that's possible. All right, question 2: is it me or when you are flying, beer tastes different? And then in brackets, actually, it's tasteless.
Yeah, that's actually factual.
Oh,
so you actually you get drunk quicker as well when you're flying, and that's why a lot of airline food, if you actually eat it on land, doesn't taste anywhere near as nice because it's full of a lot more salts and flavor salts in the chip because they have to really flavor it up. And I'm not sure on the science why, but whether it's reduced oxygen or something, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's the same principle that alcohol, you shouldn't drink alcohol while you're doing it. You shouldn't drink fizzy drinks, and you shouldn't expect that food's going to taste the same because your taste buds do get affected.
Interesting. I would have just thought, like, anytime I've drunk beer on a plane, it's old and oxidized and generally probably a pretty shit beer as a general rule.
Yeah, it's not that. There is a specific reason. And I'm not sure why, whether it's the cabin pressure or whether it's the low oxygen or something. I'm not sure. This is not flying advice.
This is not aviation advice from one of the Adams Schell.
No, my brother is an air traffic controller, though. I could probably ask him.
Yeah,
But,
you ask him or ask Hendo's brother. He's flying planes all the time.
yeah. My brother probably directs his brother around.
Nice. I reckon wine tastes better on a plane. Maybe it's just like the novelty of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I love wine when I'm on an airplane.
Yeah.
Get the cheese and biscuits as well.
Hell yeah. That's legit.
Yeah, that's the shit. But
Agreed.
I don't know. It's there's definitely a reason, but it's I don't know what it is.
Very good. All right. Well, I think that's it. That's all we got.
Yeah, cool.
Legend. Appreciate it, mate. Thanks for coming on.
No worries, man. Oh, quick question before we go: Are you still a non-captain of a boat? Have you still given up your boating? Have you?
Well, I have not boated since the last episode. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, okay.
The boat is still sitting at the front, and will I come back? There's been rumors of a comeback. There's been speculation. I don't want to confirm or deny anything, but
You've
I
invested,
will say
mate.
I have not taken the boat out since the last episode.
Car, you've got a boat.
It's sitting there. I walk past it every day, and I look at it, and I think maybe, but
yeah,
I'm not committing to anything. I'm still officially retired.
Oh, Austin! It's Austin Formula One this weekend.
Oh, true. Oh, yeah, definitely. And you know what? Ricardo's back too.
Yeah, Ricardo's back. So yeah, that'll be interesting to. I saw that they put up his name above the pit crew, and it was spelt wrong. It didn't have so you know how it's spelt Ricciardo, but it's pronounced Ricardo. It was as if someone had just sounded out his name and gone Ricardo.
For who? For AlphaTauri?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so because they don't print them out, like obviously the track people print them out and stick them up, but yeah, they spelled it wrong. So I bet you that gets fixed in the next day or two.
That is hilarious. Just totally randomly yesterday, I was driving past a car and the number plate was Ricardo.
Yeah.
But it was without the I. So I'm like, it doesn't count. It's not the same.
It's a long name. You can't fit it on a number plate.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I thought you were going to talk about what Red Bull posted, because Red Bull posted on their social media something about, because there was announcement saying that this track is going to be on the calendar for another 5 years or something. And they posted saying, cheers to 5 more years on this track. And the photo was of Verstappen and Ricardo from when they raced together a few years ago.
Yep.
They're just straight up trolling Perez.
Man, I reckon Perez is out this season. I've seen multiple news reports that he's going to announce his retirement at Mexican Grand Prix. I highly think that's unlikely.
Yeah.
But he's just under pressure. And when you're under pressure, you just keep getting worse and worse. Like you saw that with Ricardo when he was with McLaren. He just got worse and worse because mentally you're just not in the game. And
But yeah, I agree with you. But what has Ricardo done to give anyone the confidence that he can do a better job than Perez? I think that's the missing piece. Why would you give the drive to Ricardo?
Because when he did the test drive to get his seat back at AlphaTauri, he was like within 2/100ths of a second of Verstappen.
Yeah, is that a good enough reason?
I
suppose. If he's quick.
Well, no, it's not only, you got to remember, it's not only that, he was also in the simulator. So they've got that as well, because all the other drivers are in simulators as well. They also get on the simulator so that they can get ready for the tracks coming up.
Yeah.
So they would also have all the other times and their results as well. So I think it's I don't know. I'm a big Ricardo fan, so I'd be stoked to see him.
Oh, 100%
just do well again. But
100%.
Yeah. You can just see though, like Perez is not performing, and Red Bull are high pressure. You must perform, or we move you around. Like they've done it the whole time they've been in the sport. They just pull no punches. It's not about the drivers; it's about them.
So it should be. It's a big money sport.
Yeah.
So you think they'll give it to Ricardo before the end of the season?
I don't think it'll be before the end of the season, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets moved up and Lawson. They're not going to want Lawson to go too far. He's too talented.
Yeah.
And I'll be interested. I actually think Yuki will go somewhere else because Honda will want to transfer him and have him under their belt. So they've got a Japanese driver on a Japanese engine.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there wouldn't really be any benefit to Red Bull kind of kicking Perez out now or putting someone else in. I mean, they may as well wait to the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, because he knows the car and everything, and you put someone else in there, you take the risk that they're going to lose. But the whole point, they're not going to pull Perez out because they want Perez in there and they need him to improve so that they can keep the Constructors' Championship, and they want to get one,
No,
two.
they've already got it. They've already got that.
Yeah, but they also want to get Perez and Verstappen as 1-2 in the championship.
Yeah, that's true.
And Hamilton's only 90 points behind or something. So if Perez keeps doing his shit performances that he has been, then you run the risk, because you can't, if you take Perez out, you don't even have that opportunity to make points against Hamilton. So they've got to keep him
Oh,
there.
really? Oh, so he.
Oh, it's just going to be, because even if Ricardo steps into the Red Bull, it's Ricardo's points that he earns. It's not going to be Perez's. So
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Ricardo won't be able to earn the 2 points to get up above Hamilton, so that they still get the 1-2.
Yeah, okay. Well, that makes sense. So I mean, I'll definitely wait to the end of the season, you'd think.
Yeah.
But I did one of the articles I read, which all of these articles are such bullshit. Like they're just literally people who have no idea, just making shit up. But one said that they gave him an ultimatum that said he had to finish second or he'd lose his drive.
Yeah.
Which
I
mean, if he doesn't finish second this year and Max is just destroying everyone, I mean, that's just straight up embarrassing.
I'm an admin on a Facebook group called F1 Armchair Experts it started out, there was only like 6 or 7 of us, like me and a whole bunch of mates, and I didn't start it. I just got involved through my cousin, and now it's got like, I don't know, a couple of 100,000 people from all over the world that go on there, and the articles and everything, like the admin team themselves just constantly blocking posts and blah, 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 just conjecture. There's just all this shit that people post all the time. Like, it's 1 minute you read something and then the next minute it's a total opposite. So
there's something about Daniel Ricciardo too. Like, I don't know what it is. Like if you go on news.com, every day there'll be an article about Daniel Ricciardo. I mean, it literally must just be like news.com is just driven by analytics. Like it must be like mention him. And people will click on the article.
People will click it, like Australian fans will click it and open it, and that's just advertising dollars for them. So
I'd literally do it. I fall for it every time. Like I
do it as well. Yeah, I do. I'm such a sucker for it. And then after a couple of days, or after they know, like they've obviously got their cookies and they know that you've already read that article and you've been to that web page before, so they change the title of the article.
Yeah,
and you read it again. And fucking hell.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
That's why if you want your F1 advice, you have to listen to Boss and the Brewer podcast, and that's the only reliable and trustworthy source for F1 advice and news.
Who are you going to pick to win?
For this week?
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't even I mean, we don't even normally pick a winner because it's just always Max.
Yeah. But if you discount Max, the best of the next. Yeah.
I really wish I picked Piastri last time because, I mean, A, he came second, and B, he's doing so well that and McLaren's are doing so well that he's every likelihood to be the best of the rest. However, he came second last week, and I'll pick Piastri just because I'm a massive Piastri fan. So
yeah, okay. I'll pick George Russell.
Russell's a good one too. He's due something good, and he's a great driver.
Yeah, he is. If he doesn't lose concentration and run into the wall.
Yeah. Awesome. All right.
Cool, man.
Good work, mate. Cheers for filling in.
No worries. Cheers.
Talk to you soon.
Have a good one.
See you, mate.
See you, mate.